What is up, everyone? My name is Michael Pohl with Bay Area Aquatics, and today I'm going to be showing you guys how to use and give you my thoughts on the Python water changing system. Alright, so for those of you that don't know what a Python water changing system is, it is one of my favorite inventions in the aquarium hobby by far. It has made my water changes so easy, especially with like the big 75 gallon behind me. I don't have to deal with buckets, I don't have to deal with any of that. Just hook the siphon up to the sink will pull the water out, and then the sink puts the water back in. And it makes it super easy, especially if you have a big tank. Now, I use my Python on everything from my 5.5 gallons all the way up to my 75. The only thing I don't use it on is technically my pond, because I use my garden hose on that and I don't change water. I just kind of top it off as it's needed. But yeah, like I said, I use it on pretty much everything. So now we're going to go into how to use it, how to set it up, and all that good stuff. All right, so the very first thing you're going to need is the right adapter to attach the Python part to your sink. Now, the Python is a standard garden hose thread. So whatever adapter you need to get from Home Depot, Lowe's, whatever, to make your sink fit to the standard to a standard garden hose, that's what you want. The Python does come with a single brass adapter, and I want to say between the couple of things on there, it can fit like 95% of sinks or something like that. It fit my sink, no problem. It fits my other sink, which is a slightly different thread, no problem. And then it fits the sink in my office, because my sink at the office is actually a standard garden hose thread. So just keep that in mind. It is a standard garden hose thread. It comes with one. I don't remember exactly what the adapter is. It says in the packaging, but you need something that can connect it to your sink. Next thing you're going to do is you're going to connect your actual Python hose to it, and you're going to set your little faucet drainer thingy to drain. Drain is where it's pulled out all the way versus tied up and tight. Next thing you're going to do is you're going to go ahead and put the gravel vac end into your tank. I use a clamp personally to keep it in place, because I don't sit here and gravel vac all my planted tanks, but the tanks that I do gravel vac, or my 10 gallons, I just kind of put it in there, get it kind of to the point where it's not going to fall out right away, and then go ahead and start the siphon. Next step is you're going to go ahead and turn on your sink after you've turned off all your filters and heaters and stuff, just to throw that out there. You should know that. But next thing you're going to do is you're going to turn on your sink. This can vary on how much you need to start the pressure or to start the siphon. On like my 75 gallon here, I only need to turn the cold water up like halfway. On my baddest tank out in the hallway, it's far enough away that I actually have to crank the cold water all the way to the full blast, or else it won't get the water to where I need it to go. Now, depending on your sink, this might be another small issue, is if your sink is slightly clogged or doesn't drain fast enough or something, or you turn all the faucets like full blast, it might not drain fast enough, especially with water coming from your tank. So you do have to watch it a little bit. For me, I know about how far I can go on my sink before I'm going to have an issue. And the other thing too is my sink tends to get 3 or 4 inches up, and then it clears all the way down, and then 3 or 4 inches up, and then it clears all the way down. And so while it looks like it's starting to kind of overfill, it does clear eventually, but it is something you want to keep an eye on. You don't want to walk into your bathroom and have water all over the floor. Now, one of the things that I do with my 75 gallon, because I like to do large water changes on my 75 gallon, and I don't like to waste the water from the Python, is I actually start the section on the Python, and once all the air bubbles get through the tube, I come back to my main tank and I use the flip-off valve that's up by the gravel vacuum part. I'm losing my train of thought. My gravel vacuum part, and I turn that to off. Then I go back over to the sink and I turn the sink off, and then I unscrew the hose, and I actually put that in my shower, which is right next to it. It's a half shower, so it's not a bath or anything like that. It just lays right there flat on the floor. It's lower than my 75 gallon, and then I just let it do a regular gravity feed until it's down low enough that I want, and that way I'm not having to waste the water. I don't bother to do that with the 10 gallons, because the 10 gallons go up and down so quick, it's not worth it. But I do that on my 75 gallon, because it does take a couple minutes to drain, and that way I'm not having to run the faucet for an extra 10 minutes that I don't need to be. Once you drain the tank all the way down to your desired level, if you've taken your hose off, you're going to want to go ahead and hit the valve thing up here by the tank, and then reattach the hose back at the sink. If you didn't disattach the hose, then you're just going to want to hit the valve thing by the tank and go over and turn the sink off. Next thing you're going to do is you're going to temperature match the water that's going back into your aquarium. During the summertime, for me, I don't have to do this because it's 78 degrees out of the cold water. My tanks are all 78 degrees. There's a reason I keep them that way. And so in the summertime, I can just pump it straight out. I don't have to bother temperature matching it. But as soon as it gets even slightly cold, I have to temperature match it, and I have to sit there and balance the hot and cold. Now, the way to do that without sending water to your tank is to do the drain function, but again, keeping the tab back by the tank, the shutoff valve, in the off position, so it's not suctioning anything extra out, and you're not getting tank water out in that temperature too. I use a laser gun. I've seen some people use a digital aquarium thermometer. That's what I used to use. Some people use their hands. I don't trust myself enough to use my hands to feel it by touch, but I use just a laser aquarium thermometer thingy, or an infrared thermometer, and that's how I temperature match. I usually get it within a degree or two, and then I'm cool with that. And as soon as that's there, I actually leave it running for just a second. I'll run back to the tank. I dose my safe or my prime or whatever. Remember, with the water change going straight into the tank, so this is a 75 gallon behind me, even if I only change half of the water, I need to dose dechlorinator for 75 gallons. I don't dechlorinate just half of the tank. You have to dose for the full volume of the tank when you're going directly back into the tank like that. So that is one thing to keep in mind. I use Seachem Safe, but yeah, you have to dose for the entire tank. Once you get the temperature match all the same, and you've got your dechlorinator in your tank, then you're gonna walk back over to your sink and you're gonna flip the little drain thing to fill. And that's gonna basically close off the circuit and send water down the hose. Now, the other thing you wanna remember is you remember to come back out here into your main tank area and flip the switch so that it starts pushing water. And otherwise it's gonna build up pressure and it can actually mess with the seals around your sink. So just keep that in mind. It's not meant to be under high pressure for that long, but it will stand just enough to be able to walk back and forth and get your tank on and off. Some people like to wait to dose their dechlorinator until after they've turned it on. That's fine. I like to dose mine before, just because it makes me feel a little better about myself. I know some people that do like half of it up front, half of it after. I just dose it all at once. I haven't had an issue time-wise of chlorine in the water, but it's kind of up to you and what you want to do. While the Python's filling the tank back up, this is the time that I go ahead and I refill and reprime my AquaClear. So any of your hang-on back filters that need to be reprimed, I go ahead and do that here. That way it's just already set up, ready to go. And then I just sit and watch the tank go up. Once it gets above the water level on my heater and high enough on the filters, even though it's not full all the way, I tend to switch all my filters back on just so they can get pumping and moving again. And then that way I can fill it up. And once it gets to the very top, I can just shut it off. And I don't have to worry about the filters sucking up an extra half inch down or something like that. So yeah, now that my camera battery died right before I was about to finish up the video, it's totally frazzled my train of thought. Like I said, I love my Python water change system. If you have one, let me know in the comments down below how you like it, what you don't like about it. There are a couple things I don't like about it. I kind of wish it was more made of metal versus plastic. But you know, I'd pay extra for a metal one, but you know, I know that's not the biggest deal for some people. Yeah, and I don't really know what else to say. Basically, I like this water changing system, and if you are looking for some sort of easier water change system and you have some big tanks and you have a sink that can fit to it, it's worth picking up. It's worth spending the money. It is definitely worth spending the money. It made my life so much easier. So if you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, you know what to do. Thanks for watching. If you're new here, be sure to hit the subscribe button and the bell notification so you get notified every time I upload a video. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.